The call with my son was on speaker, and that's how I heard my daughter-in-law whisper, "Just tell her we got married last week. She's not on the list." My entire body went numb. Not on the list. The person who had paid their $700 rent every month for 2 years, who furnished their entire apartment, who stocked their fridge when times were tight. I was standing in my own kitchen, the phone like a brick in my hand, watching the clock tick. The lilac mother of the groom dress I'd saved for hung in my closet, tag still on. I'd pictured myself in those photos 1,000 times. Photos I'd never be in. For weeks, I'd quietly set aside $1,000 for their gift. I'd told my brother across the country the good news. I'd deep cleaned my house, hoping they might stop by after. All of it vanished in an instant with that single venomous phrase, "She's not on the list." My son, David, finally got on the line, his voice flat. "Mom, it was a tiny ceremony. Just us and the officiant. But I knew. Social media doesn't lie. I saw the pictures later. Her parents beaming. Her siblings laughing with champagne. The white gown I'd helped pay for with the emergency $900 I'd sent last month. I saw the whole beautiful lie, frame by frame. Exactly 7 days after that ice-cold humiliation, my phone rang again. It was Sarah, my daughter-in-law. Her voice was different now, thin, strained. "Linda, the landlord is at the door. The rent check never came. He says we have 3 days." She sounded like she was crumbling. I was silent, remembering all the times I'd rushed that payment, skipped my own plans, ate simple meals to keep their lives smooth. And now, after being erased from their most important day, she called as if nothing had changed. "Sarah," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I seem to recall. I only look after people who are on my list." The silence on the other end was absolute. I could almost hear her confusion spinning. "Linda, what does that mean?" "We're family." It was all lies, coated in that sugary tone she used only when the well was running dry. The same tone that had gotten me to pay for that dress, the rings, the honeymoon fund, all for a wedding I was barred from. For years, I'd lived on a tightrope, measuring every word, every gift, desperate for a scrap of warmth from my only child. I was the silent engine of their comfort, the invisible provider. But those words, "not on the list," ignited something in me that had been asleep for a decade. I sat down that night and did the math I'd been avoiding. Rent, $700 times 24 months. Groceries and bills, at least $300 a month. Gifts, loans, the car repair, the new sofa. The total took my breath away. Over $28,000. Money from my late husband's careful savings, from my pension, from a lifetime of work. All spent to make 2 adults comfortable who saw me as a useful ghost. I cried then, but not from sorrow. From a furious, purging rage. I wept for the woman who thought love was a transaction, who made herself small to feel needed. When I looked in the mirror the next morning, my eyes were the same, but the gaze behind them was new, hard, clear. I made coffee and didn't think about calling David. My first thought was about what I wanted for breakfast. The phone rang. "David." I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. "Sarah." I silenced it. A text buzzed through. "Mom, we need to talk. Call us." I deleted it. That afternoon, I went for a walk with no destination. I passed the playground where I'd pushed David on the swings. When did that little boy become this stranger who saw me as a wallet with a heartbeat? My next stop was the bank. Mr. Evans, the manager who'd processed my automated payments for years, looked up in surprise. "Mrs. Gable, is everything all right?" "I need to cancel all automatic transfers to my son's account," I said, "and I want to revoke any access he has." Mr. Evans paused, genuine concern on his face. I hope there's no trouble. The trouble, I said, is finally over. As he worked, my phone lit up repeatedly. They could sense it, I swear. The financial umbilical cord being cut. I powered it off. Leaving the bank, I felt physically lighter, as if I'd dropped a heavy pack I'd been carrying for miles. I came home to find 2 cars parked haphazardly in my driveway. David's, Sarah's. My stomach dropped. They had a key. I'd given it to them for emergencies. I took a steadying breath and opened my door. The scene inside froze me. David was on my couch, head in hands. Sarah was pacing. A man in a suit I didn't know was examining papers on my desk. My financial papers. What is the meaning of this? My voice filled the quiet room. Sarah spun around. Linda, thank goodness. This is Mr. Doyle. He's a family attorney. We're worried about you. Worried? I asked, my eyes locking on the stranger at my desk. David stood up. Mom, the bank called us. You cut everything off. We don't understand why you'd do something so drastic. Mr. Doyle is here to help assess the situation. The lawyer offered a slim smile. Mrs. Gable, your family is concerned about your recent decision-making. They've asked me to evaluate your capacity to manage your affairs. The pieces snapped together with a sickening clarity. This wasn't a visit. This was a legal reconnaissance mission. They weren't worried about my well-being. They were securing their asset. Get out, I said, my voice low. All of you, get out of my house. Mom, be reasonable. David's voice cracked. We have bills. You co-signed. You can't just abandon us. You are 2 grown adults, I stated, and I am a 70-year-old woman who is finally reclaiming her life. Now, leave. Mr. Doyle packed his briefcase. Mrs. Gable, if you're making irrational choices due to emotional distress, the court can appoint a guardian. Think this through. I held his gaze. I have thought of little else for years. The door is behind you. After they left, the silence was profound. It wasn't empty. It was full of possibility. The next morning, I hired my own attorney, a specialist in elder rights. This is financial abuse, Mrs. Gable, she said, reviewing my records. We'll document every penny and get a restraining order if they harass you. I changed my locks. I installed a security camera. I called my brother and told him the whole ugly truth. Linda, he sighed, I've been waiting for you to see it. David only ever talked about what you bought, never how he loved you. The fight wasn't over. They filed a petition with the court, claiming I was mentally unfit and needed a guardian. David, of course. They brought a social worker to my door. They lied to my pharmacist to get a statement. They recruited a disgruntled neighbor. But I was ready. My lawyer had a psychiatrist evaluate me. I scored perfectly. My new friends from my book club agreed to testify to my sound mind. My banker, Mr. Evans, provided records showing meticulous, rational management for decades. The court date arrived. I wore a steel blue suit. I saw David and Sarah across the room, avoiding my eyes. Their lawyer painted me as a confused old woman manipulated by outsiders. My lawyer dismantled him, piece by piece, presenting the evidence of their greed and my clarity. The judge's ruling was swift. The petition for guardianship is denied. Mrs. Gable has demonstrated full competency. This court finds the motivation for this action appears financially driven. I won. Not just the case, but myself. That was a year ago. I sold the old house and moved to a brighter place by the water. I used some of the money I'd saved to travel, finally visiting places I'd only dreamed of. I donate now to a charity that protects seniors from family exploitation. I heard through the grapevine David and Sarah had to downsize to get real jobs. Maybe struggle will teach them what my money never could. Some evenings, I watch the sunset from my balcony. I think of the woman I was afraid purchasing affection with every check. She's gone. I am here. I am free. And I learned the most vital lesson. Love should never have a price tag, and your own peace is the most precious thing you'll ever own. If this story resonated with you, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing to @urbantales_41 for more powerful tales of truth and consequence. What would you have done when they showed up with that lawyer? Let me know your thoughts down below.